Leadership isn't just changing, it's evolving in ways we're only just beginning to imagine. And women, we're not playing this game anymore. We're the ones reshaping the entire field, building models, movements, and businesses that serve more than just a few. On the She Leads podcast, you'll hear real conversations with women who've broken through all kinds of barriers: revenue, identity, borders, and expectations. There's no sugarcoating here, just the truth, told by those who are living it. I'm Adrienne Garland, entrepreneur, strategist, educator, and creator of live experiences, gathering women leaders together for over a decade. And this is the She Leads podcast. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the She Leads podcast. Today, we have two very special guests that I cannot wait to introduce you to. Debbie and Troy Sutton of the Healing Pads. And the reason that I'm so excited is because we were together in person several months ago at an amazing Pitch the Media event that we put on in New York City. And I got to meet Troy and Debbie in person and hear their incredible story. And it's why I asked them to be on the She Leads podcast, because they have a wonderful, healing and heartwarming story to tell with loads of lessons baked in there. So welcome to the She Leads podcast, Debbie and Troy.
Hello, and
Hi.
thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
I am so excited for you to be able to share your story. It's super interesting that we have mom and son together starting and growing this incredible business that is going to help so many women, that is helping so many women right now and is going to help so many more women. So first, let's talk about your business. So what is the Healing Pads?
Well, the healing pads are, and I can show you, I happen to have them. The healing pads are this wonderfully designed pad, which is conical and breast shaped. And inside are the gems of special segments of gel pack. So the gel packs that we all have had in our freezer, the blue ones, it's a similar product to that can be warmed in the microwave or chilled in the freezer for warming or cooling therapy for breast tenderness or breast discomfort, which runs the gamut, and I can talk about who they're for, from the youngest gals to women who are experiencing menopause and hot flashes.
Oh.
So, so they're great. They can go right on the skin. They can go right inside your bra. And this fabric is amazingly soft. And they are really just wonderful.
So you created this incredible product that helps women, which I love. And I love the fact that not only can they be cooled, but they can also be warmed, because sometimes you just need that warmth.
Yes.
So how did you come up with this solution for a multitude of problems that women face?
Well, to be honest, we weren't thinking about all of the multitudinous problems women face. We had an aha moment. I did first because I had a very uncomfortable, miserable mammogram. I was healthy, thank goodness, but it really hurt. And I think that the tech went a little bit overboard and I was really cranky. And when I drove home and came into the house with my family of guys strewn about watching a game, clueless, blah, 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 except for Troy, who said, "Mom, how'd it go? How was your test?" And should I tell her what I said? Well, what I said was, because I was cranky, I said, "You know what? It sucked." I said, "And if you guys had to put it on the table and get it yanked and twisted and turned and pulled like 8 times, and between 2 plates of glass, you'd never go back. They would have made something better. They would have made it, easier for you guys because you wouldn't do it. But this is what we women do. We have to do it. We want women to do it. And it's not something that is pleasant or that we look forward to doing, but like many things that women do and go through, it's part of life." So Troy had asked me, "Mom, don't they give you anything?" I said, "Like a bill, you mean?" He said, "No, they don't give you anything really, for your discomfort or whatever. And he said, well, let's look. So he went and, the millennial that he is, started to look and Google and nothing came up
Mm.
except big clunky ice packs and different things that were just so antiquated. And so he invented it and
Hmm.
now it's patented. And yeah, I'm really
Mhm.
proud of him because he's done an amazing job. He's in this women's business and really a woman's business intimately. And he's doing a great job of bridging the gap. So,
So, Troy, first of all, it's incredible to hear your empathy for your mother. That is definitely rare and so beautiful. And I have two boys, so it warms my heart to hear that you asked your mom how she was. And then not only did you just ask how she was, you actually helped her to do something about that. So that just says, first of all, so much about your parents and that they raised such an incredible person. So, congratulations, Debbie.
thank you.
And then Troy, I obviously know a tiny bit about you, but going from okay, mom, let's Google and see what's out there to let me invent something is a step that not many people take.
Mhm.
So, how did you go about inventing something and then having the empathy because there are products that are created for women that are made by men and a lot of times you hear that the designers, the product developers, they just don't understand women's issues.
Mhm.
Got it. Mhm.
Yeah, and we hear that, far too often, that, even in the medical industry where male doctors, right, and I feel like I could say this as a man, right, they don't necessarily understand why or how women experience breast pain or to what level of pain and the magnitude. And so it is hard for men to understand. And the only way that we can try to sympathize is by asking questions and just
Mm,
opening up the conversation and learning more about what women are experiencing. And
mm.
that really was the foundation of how we were able to build this product. I asked my mom, she told me this pancaking mammogram process story, which sounded awful. And from my perspective, I was studying biomedical engineering because I wanted to design prosthetics for war vets to play sports. And
Mm,
I was also a catcher in college in baseball. So after practice, I would lay on the ground with all of those blue gel ice packs all over my body. So I assumed those existed for breasts. And the only thing we could find, like my mom mentioned, are outdated, archaic, pads that didn't really make sense and didn't really allow the woman to live her best life and go on her daily routine. And so when we were doing our research, we wanted to ensure that the pads were designed specifically for women's breasts, exactly like what you mentioned. And so we were blessed to be introduced to her name is Anna Krill. She is the founder of Sharing and Caring, one of New York's largest nonprofit breast cancer foundations. She's a two-time breast cancer survivor and a certified breast prosthetic fitter. So she
mm,
would design prosthetics for her clients who had a single or bilateral mastectomy when they were battling breast cancer. So Anna, who's on our board of directors, was able to design the shape and offer her advice on the shape of the pad. And then we were also blessed to partner with an FDA regulated manufacturer here in New Jersey, where my mom and I are based. And so the pads are medical grade material made by third generation US based company. So the pads are, wonderful in that regard.
mm,
And when we were doing our prototype research and development, we ended up donating over 500 pads to our partner organizations and foundations to get real feedback from the women, which
mm.
included the shape, the size, the color, the location of the inner gel pack. So that way it'd be easier to insert the pad into any bra while the woman is wearing the bra and going about her daily routine. And so, really, in addition to the warming and the cooling, the pads are also great because they're designed by women for women. So it
Yeah.
was really the feedback from women of all different stages, from the youngest girls going through their monthly cycles to women
Mhm.
with menopause and hot flashes
Mhm.
or pregnancy and breastfeeding. My mom and I were just at a big event in Philly last weekend, right, educating women on the benefits of warm and cool therapy during breastfeeding journey. Um,
Yeah.
and so that was really important to get feedback from hundreds of women about the pads in order to develop it. I'm just very grateful that I was able to put everybody in the same room and on the same email thread, and I was able to be, part of this journey. But really, it was, my mom facilitating the meetings and leading the meetings with these women. I'm just taking notes and drawing and using my engineering background, right, to just incorporate their feedback because it's men. I will say men get breast cancer. Men have chest pain and breast pain and nipple pain. It's obviously not as prevalent. So some men can empathize, but it's
Not
not like
most.
not most, right? So it's not like I can't wear these pads, right? They're specifically for women because
Yeah.
women deserve something better, given how prevalent breast pain is from what we've learned on our journey. And
Hmm.
you
Mm.
know, we were on a call earlier with another New Mother Foundation, and we've just learned right over the last year and a half that we've been a company, right? How many women I've learned, I will say, right? Specifically, I learned how many women experience breast pain for a variety of reasons and could use some type of therapy like this. So
Hmm.
it's
Mm.
been really educational in addition to fruitful from an engineering perspective.
Hmm.
Wow. I mean, this to me, I teach entrepreneurship at Rice University and also at NYU. And we talk so much about empathy and getting out of the office and talking to real customers so that you can gain the insight that you need to develop the best solutions. And, from everything that you just said, you're following the exact process that we're teaching these students on how to start a company that provides tremendous value to its intended customers and audience. And you said that you've sort of been on this journey for only a year and a half. That
Hmm.
is nothing, right, in the scheme of things. It seems to me that the both of you have a really great relationship and, being like a mom and son team, developing something that is so intimate and personal. Are there any challenges that the both of you faced along the way?
Mhm. So can I just want to mention something real quick about what you said with in regards to value. It's that's really the cornerstone of a good idea and a good business, which is entrepreneurship, right? Is making sure that you're creating value and solving a real problem, right? Because the market doesn't care, right? How hard you work or
No.
what the product is, right? It only cares about how much value you create. And that's really a powerful reminder to ensure that what we're doing, what the product or the service that you're offering is solving a real problem
Yeah.
or helping people, right? In however it solves a problem. And so you just, you mentioned it, and that's just a key pillar of our business and entrepreneurship. Mhm.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for that reminder.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. And so,
We
well, yeah, just talking about a relationship. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, I was going to do something funny
Oh,
and
go.
just,
Oh.
say, I feel very lucky and blessed to be working side by side with Troy. I mean, we never imagined this. This just was,
Mhm,
just a spontaneous thing
mhm,
that sort of happened organically. And a lot of the steps I just might say have been fortuitous or serendipity, really, of how we met. Um, how we met Anna Krill, and then
mhm,
how we met your our manufacturer, and then how we met you, and then some of the women that we met through you, and where
mhm.
Oh,
that has
Nice.
led us since that. So
Mhm,
we have, like, I would say, like, 3 times out from when we met you is where we have gone with,
mhm,
people we've met with you. So
mm,
that's incredible when that
mm,
happens. You kind of get the karma that, "Oh, I think we're doing good work here." So it
mhm.
sort of lends itself to good things to come to us.
mm.
But I
I
do
love
enjoy
that.
really working with him. There it does have its challenges.
Well, I could talk about,
Yeah, yeah.
one
Talk
of those.
about the challenges, Troy.
Well, it's a challenge, but for me, like, I also went to business school and I've learned, and also, being in this and in the thick of entrepreneurship is that, relationships are very important, but, it's sometimes having the relationship is more important than being right.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
what I've learned. I mean, I worked in real estate and construction, so I understand the significance of relationships, but something that business school never taught me is that the relationship sometimes is significantly more important than being right. And that is so true for me because
Mm,
like I know about business, but I don't know about women's breast health, or I didn't. So
right.
it's really about like being humble and knowing that my mom might be saying one thing, I'm saying another thing. I think I'm right, but really having to like take a step back and know that, I'm working with my mom. She obviously has the best intention for me and for this business. We're in
Mm,
it, we're the co-founders of it. So I think that is always, just a lesson, right, that I've learned from the challenge of working with my mom, right? Because we need to balance, when are we mother son? When are we business
Love
partners,
that.
right?
right.
What are those types of relationships really? And like having an on off switch for that, because it could bleed into other parts of our life,
That's
which
true.
which is not, which sometimes isn't good, right? So,
Yeah.
really just like as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to recognize when you're wrong, when you don't know what you don't know, and being open to, new conversations and learning things. Because if none of that, if we didn't do any of that, we wouldn't be here with this idea today.
Right.
So.
Mm,
And it's true. You do ask me on occasion, how do you want me to answer this? Son, business partner, friend?
mm.
And I'm like,
Mhm.
just don't answer. Just
'Cause well, that's another learning lesson that I've learned, right? And that's as a man, as a son, right? Just as a man in life, right? For anybody who's listening out there, or even for the women out there listening, right? Like, we need to learn what type of listener to be, right? And I know this has
Mm,
come up a lot in conversations recently, but like, do you want me to be your support system? Do you want me to play devil's advocate and help you
sometimes,
push through this
sometimes,
yeah.
obstacle, right? Sometimes, right? So
sometimes.
that's also really a great lesson for entrepreneurship and leadership, right? Is just kind of
Yeah.
knowing who you're talking to, knowing the situation. And if you don't know, then just ask, right? How
Yeah.
do you want me to listen?
Yeah.
Mm. Y- I don't know how to express how much I loved what you both just spoke about. The words that were coming up for me were, emotional maturity, right? Trust, like this deep level of trust, communication, and networking.
Yeah.
It's like these are all of the ingredients of entrepreneurship. When you
Hmm.
have a co-founder, somebody in your family, there can be a lot of tension, and as you're saying, there's like an origin to the relationship, and that has a certain dynamic. You've now moved into still having a relationship, but a different dynamic. And how do
Hmm.
you move back and forth, but between those two things, and more? And that is a level of emotional maturity that you are clearly mastering. And I think it's a big lesson for anybody listening in, that if you do have a co-founder, if they're your family or not, you have to have some type of level of emotional maturity, and then be willing to communicate so openly and to humble yourself, right? That you don't necessarily know everything, and your point of view, your perspective might be yours and it's valuable, but it might not be the time or the place to express that and to
Hmm.
know the difference between the two. So I think that there's tons of just things that anybody listening in can take away from what you've just shared, and that is just simply incredible. I love that so much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and I appreciate it. And so I'm thinking, you're sort of at the stage of building the business where I can imagine that more and more people, because I know that you're out talking about the product, sharing it, going to different events, forming all of these partnerships and everything. Um, at a certain point, everybody's gonna want this, right? Like the problem that nobody wants, right? But everybody wants, is when you start to get these humongous orders, right? From whether it's wholesalers or retailers, or even, just the public in general. How is your organization going to scale when you get to the point where more and more people want your product?
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're very well positioned right now. So you can talk about it, but I think that's a very timely element of the business right now. I'm fingers crossed, of course, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I'll let Troy
Mhm.
finish here. So
Mhm.
just
Yeah, it's well, through you, we can give a shout out to Dr. Liz Claiborne, who is the inventor of Nasaclip. She is a powerhouse of a woman between her medical career, being a mother, being an inventor. She's a very successful entrepreneur. So we've kept in contact and built our network with her, and she's been a wealth of information. And so really just learning through that experience, right, of just meeting other women in the community. And so through her, she has had success on TV and through other social media platforms and media channels and marketplaces. And so we have emulated her success and her guidance, and we have started to build out our direct response TV campaigns and our social media platforms as well. And so that is really how we are trying to scale the company from a marketing perspective. And then I will add from a product perspective, since every woman's body is different, we already have approved designs from women in our community for larger pads, different colors, slightly different shapes. And then my mom, I'll say, is also working on a pad that is more filled in. So for women who are on a breast cancer journey, the
Mm,
pad will fit flush against their chest if
beautiful.
they are at different stages of a reconstructive journey.
Or not.
So,
Mm,
or not, right? If they opt not to, right? Which we're seeing more trends now. So
mm,
it's, these are all things that we've learned, right? And so that's
wow.
another key lesson, is to be open to learning new things. I mean, it's, for me in my male ego, I think one size fits all, right? Works, and one size works all, but we want to be better than that, right? We're always trying to make a better product. And that's from just listening to one of our customers' feedback about how to refine the product and make it better. And
Mm,
really, how we've gotten to this point is just compounding all of those little tasks and the little feedback and those little margins, right? Because compounded over months and over years, right? That's when we'll see the real growth. So by adding, more products and being able to appeal to more women on different stages, in different stages of life for different reasons why they have breast pain, is really our growth to
And
success.
yeah, and
mm.
also, talking about our manufacturer,
Mhm,
we have a wonderful and very close relationship
mhm,
with them, and they already are on board
mhm,
for that phone call, and, let's just
mhm,
get good vibes that comes through at some point
mhm,
soon, and he's ready to go.
That
So
is so amazing to hear. I love to hear all of this. I mean, the fact that it's also manufactured here is something that I think will
mhm,
appeal to so many different people. It's personal, it's sort of made in America, if you will. I know some components might come from other
mhm.
places, but the
Which
fact
they
that
do. Yep. Mhm,
yeah, that this is something that is, here in this country, I think is something that will be very appealing to people. And I see that your company can also go in so many different directions, especially if your company is all about healing. There are so many different aspects of healing for women, and I think, Troy, what you're saying, the more and more that you listen to the stories and the journeys of women, and even when somebody isn't necessarily in healing mode, they're just going through the normal stages of life, whether that's perimenopause or menopause, and just all of the fluctuation of hormones that just happen if you're perfectly healthy.
yes.
Your product is one that appeals to the every woman, literally.
Mhm.
mhm,
Yes, yes. I mean, young girls go through monthly breast pain with their cycles. Some
Yeah.
have no breast pain, but some really suffer from that. And then with pregnancy and how the breasts are changing dramatically, they can. And then breastfeeding is just, we love that. Just like getting mammograms, we encourage women to do it. It's a wonderful thing all around, but it can be difficult sometimes. There can be clogged ducts, or there could be mastitis that could or
Yeah.
irritation on the nipple area. And these we like Troy said, we just did a baby and bumps big event. So we were, blessed to see so many women in all stages of pregnancy and before and after. So, there's just so many women, and not to mention all the surgeries, whether it's cosmetic or the serious side, which is breast cancer, of
Mhm.
course, and then the hormones that are in peri and menopause, like you said. So,
What has been the most challenging part of this journey? Because, Debbie, I don't think,
Mhm.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that you ever manufactured a product and sort of took it to market before this. So how has that whole entire learning experience been for you?
yeah.
And really, what has been the biggest challenge?
Well, you're right about that. I didn't ever bring anything to market, although I had a lot of ideas. But when the kids were, when my son was in school and everyone was busy, my husband was still working, and I was part time. So it was just like it takes a lot of time to do
Yeah.
this, and a lot
Mm.
of effort, and a lot of money, and
Yes.
you need a support group, and you need resources. So that was my challenge before, and that's still to some extent the challenge now. It is just the two of us. We are self-funded thus
Mhm.
far,
Mhm.
and that's got to stop. So anyway, so that is, I would say, pretty much that's been a challenge. And what else? I mean, I
Mhm.
think learning. Like when we made the pivot, we decided with our name, the Healing Bras, that at one point, I realized that I didn't need to be wearing that healing bra to be able to use the healing pads.
Mm.
So, I used them right out of the freezer and into the bra that I was wearing. And we sort of had another aha moment that said, we can make any bra the healing bra by just
Mm.
inserting the pads. And
Mm.
so that was not a challenge, but, changing things so that with an idea change comes all of the, housekeeping, if you will. And
Sure. And
so,
manufacturing, if you were manufacturing full bras before and you
mhm.
had to pivot away from that, those are two very different processes. So sort of putting that to bed early on and shifting and changing. I think that for me, hearing that, I think it's a perfect pivot, right? It actually gives you so much more flexibility
Yes.
to do other things because bras in and of themselves are very difficult to size, right? And to get
Mhm.
right and to get comfortable and for all the different outfits that people want to wear. So
Yes,
you
yes.
you you made a very smart pivot
Thank you.
in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, the bra we have is a great bra. It's an everyday bra. It's really well made and has lots and lots of features, and we do have them on our website still.
Mhm.
But, if anyone wants one, they
Mhm.
can certainly get one.
Yeah.
But, um
Mhm. I think, well, Adrian, you make a wonderful point, right, about the business and that, yes, we are building a product and a brand in our community. But, in addition to that, we're building the systems that build the business, right?
Yeah.
And so early on, we were doing everything from social media to inventory to warehousing to research product development. Then we were driving to meet with doctors and hospitals. So we were doing a little bit of everything. And eventually, the goal is to create processes, right, that will help facilitate the company's growth without just relying on my mom and me, because
Yeah.
eventually we want to expand and focus on other aspects of the business, but we need to maintain that, what we've done in the past and what has worked we can continue to do. So I think
Mm.
what you said about like building a system is really important. And it's funny because we often joke that we're like Steve Jobs, except instead of computers, we're selling bras and pads out of our garage. But it's like
Listen.
we are. Orders come in, we slap, we fulfill it, we write, a note, and then like the mailman comes or we give it to, we drop it off at the post office. Like we have this perfect system down. And that was because of all of the my mom's background with, I'll just quickly mention that my mom in her career built a 50,000 square foot warehouse to grew it to 1 million square feet at Port Newark, where
Wow.
she was fulfilling commodities. And so, using my mom's experience, right, with fulfillment, like we have, this wonderful supply chain
Mm.
logistic, system set up. And, that's definitely important for a business, specifically with products, and
Mm.
streamlining it where now we're not necessarily focusing on the bras. That was also like what you mentioned, a good pivot logistically because of space and SKUs
Sure.
and,
Ugh.
what the women really want. Ultimately, that was why we pivoted from that, was because of the feedback that we heard from women and from my mom. So
Mm.
I think that was just really great. That was great learning lessons for us and for the business.
So where do you see the next, if you sort of vivid vision into the future a couple of years from now, where do you see your business going and growing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are currently in the process of being approved the healing pads by insurance. So we would love to partner with hospitals. Currently, the
Wonderful.
hospitals that we have partnered with, including McGee Women's most recently in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a leading women's institution, they offer the pads to their gift shop, to their NICU families and patients, to the breast surgery
And lactation.
patients and lactation specialists and patients
Wow.
as well. So they're offering
Amazing.
the pads to a plethora of women who are experiencing breast pain, right, and discomfort. And so we would love to continue working, right, from that perspective with businesses, not
Mhm.
just hospitals and medical, but also baby organizations and breast cancer foundations. And one of our ambassadors, Joetta Clark, she's a four-time Olympian from New Jersey. She is a big advocate of using the pads before, during, and after training. And so
Hmm.
we're starting to talk with different universities who might be interested in offering the pads to their female student athletes.
Amazing.
There are over 200,000 female student athletes in college. So, and as a fellow retired college athlete, I can empathize right with that pain, which is exactly like what you're mentioned. I remember those days when my chest was very sore from catching and working out and things like that, and girls in college have much more to deal with than boys, specifically regarding their breast health and breast pain and
Mhm.
whatnot. So, I just think that's a wonderful uh, path, right? That we've
Yep.
really laid out, and we're excited to just keep moving forward, right? We have great
Mm.
momentum that we
Yep.
built every day, every week, really. On day to day, there might not be big wins, but we really try to pride ourselves on the little wins, right? And
Yep.
setting up meetings, right, with someone who we thought we'd never have the chance to meet with, right? Or
Yeah.
having a commercial go out, right? Or different things like that. So we're really
Yeah.
just trying to ride this great momentum that my mom and
Mhm.
I built and
Mm.
ultimately help empower women and make them
Yes.
feel
And on
better.
Amazon, we should mention
Yeah,
that too.
soon.
We should, so we hope to be on Amazon soon. So
Mhm.
Oh,
your
great.
listeners will be able to find us there as well as our website and socials.
Amazing. Before we sort of wrap up, and I do want you to let everybody know where they can get these, because I mean, I think not only for yourself but also for care packages, gifts, things like that
Mhm.
for anybody. I think it's just absolutely perfect. One of the things that I just want to almost just harken back to for one moment, because I do think that it's super important, just for the listeners. And I think there's so much noise that's out there on social media and a lot of trends and things like that, and going to places where there's thousands and thousands of people. You both came to a small-ish event that I put on that was beautiful and wonderful and packed with information. It always is. But just because the size of an event is small doesn't mean that there can't be such great impact, and
Mhm.
it just warms my heart beyond belief to know that you connected with a powerhouse who was there, that had, she's a little bit farther ahead on the path when it comes to fundraising and being on TV and all of that kind of stuff. But the message is that, if you are in the right place with the right people, the size doesn't necessarily matter. And you don't have to be at the hottest things in order to really find the people that are going to make a big difference to
Mhm.
you personally, or to your business. So the fact that you have gotten such amazing things because of some of the people that you met at the Pitch the Media event really just makes me so happy on a personal level. So thank you so much for sharing that. And so with that, how can people purchase all of the items, the bras, the healing pads, everything from you?
Mhm. So anyone who wants to learn more information or look at the pads and purchase a pair can do so at our website, thehealingbras.com. And
Okay.
we're on all social media, on Instagram, the Healing Paths, and you'll be able to find different testimonials and stories of women in our community who are providing really the confidence, right, and feedback that we are on the right track and that we can do, great work, just the two of us together. We are bootstrapping this, and we're really trying to build this brand together. And so it's been an incredible journey, and we're just really looking forward to all the next steps and meeting more incredible women and more foundations and organizations.
Amazing. Well, thank you so very much for spending your time here with me today and sharing your story about your business and the beautiful relationship that you both have with everybody that's listening to the She Leads podcast. I really appreciate it. I wish you incredible, wild success. I know that you're going to have it. Debbie and Troy, thank you so much for being here on the show today.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you, Adrienne.
We really enjoyed it. Thank you.
If this conversation moved you, inspired you, or made you think differently, please take a moment to leave a 5-star rating and review. It's not just about boosting the show, it's about amplifying the voices of women entrepreneurs who are leading with vision, building with purpose, and shaping what's next. We need more of these conversations in the world right now, don't you think? And if someone came to mind while you were listening, someone who matters to you, send this episode to them. If there's something on your mind about leadership, legacy, or what's next, I want to hear it. Head to sheleadsmedia.com/voice and leave a voice memo or note. Your insight might just help shape a future episode. Make sure to follow the show and come back next week for more conversations you won't hear anywhere else. Thank you so much for listening.
Podcaststhatmatter.org.
This is the She Leads Podcast Network.